Alright guys, welcome back to Fog Wrestling. It is time for Extreme Rules review. I cannot believe I actually sat up and watched this for like, what, 3 hours? Was it even 3 hours? Actually, if you include the pre-show, it's like almost 4. So yeah, sat up, watched this. I wasn't expecting much going into the show. I wasn't excited about the card whatsoever. And maybe the pay-per-view was better than I originally thought. What I noticed was there was a hell of a lot of people debuting new attires tonight, especially the women, so no real complaints or whatever, but yeah, no, the card was pretty shit, to be fair, but considering what was on the card, I think it was alright. I'll say that, it was alright. Pre-show, we kick off Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Carmella cuts a promo before the match, says that she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. You know, we've heard this all before. She says that she's hot and Liv Morgan's not, which I kind of find ironic. I mean, I'd say Liv Morgan's hotter than Carmella. Obviously, depends on your preference, but to me, I think Liv Morgan is prettier than Carmella, and if she, you know, if they were to dress the same or whatever, or apply the same makeup, I think Liv Morgan would just look nicer. But anyway, Liv Morgan won. She wants a push. Whether she deserves one or not, I don't know, but she's hot. She had new ring gear. She beat Carmella. Pre-show, it is what it is. I'm not going to talk about the pre-show too much. Right, then we move on to the main show. No, actually, no, wait, that's not what happened. During the pre-show, it gets announced that we're going to be getting the New Day versus Bobby Lashley, AJ, and Omos in a 6-man tag match. How can this happen? How can the WWE Champion, how can the former WWE Champion Bobby Lashley, how can they not even have a match up until the last possible moment, and then it gets announced on the pay-per-view? This is insane. The WWE Champion, and he wasn't even announced for a pay-per-view match up until the pre-show. Are you serious? Like, how does that even make sense? I mean, who decides that? Unreal. Anyway, it was a decent 6-man tag match, I guess. The New Day won. Big E wins with a spear on Lashley. The big ending on Lashley after Lashley and AJ couldn't really get along, tagging each other in. Lashley inadvertently hit AJ with the spear, and then it was Big E with the big ending on Lashley. But he wins. Then after the match, we get Lashley backstage. He demands a title match for the next Raw. So it looks like we're going to get the title rematch that we haven't got so far. In my opinion, it should have been on the show tonight, but it wasn't. We're getting it on Raw. Apparently it's going to kick Raw off. So there you go, boom. Second match of the night was the Usos versus the Street Profits, WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship on the line. They seemed to me, in my opinion, they kept hinting that Angelo Dawkins was going to turn on Ford here because he wasn't there last week and he kind of let the side down, and basically they were going with the story that he didn't have his back, and he kind of, when you look at the result tonight, it kind of did look as if Dawkins kind of let down the team, because even though he sacrificed himself for Montez Ford, I just felt for long periods of the match Dawkins was like on the outside, allowing Montez Ford to get, you know, double teamed by the Usos. But anyway, Usos win with a double splash that looked terrible, and the double super kick before that looked terrible as well. So I don't get it. Just have one person do the splash. It just doesn't really work. It's not like the Hardys where, you know, Jeff would maybe do the splash and Matt would do a leg drop. I mean, these guys are both trying to do a splash, but they're making sure that they don't get anywhere near each other. And it just looked awkward, man. It looked shit. But the Usos win. Then we had Big E backstage, pumped up. He accepted Bobby Lashley's challenge. So we're getting a title match to kick off Raw tomorrow night. Then we moved on to Charlotte Flair defending the Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. You know, pretty good match. Charlotte Flair wins. Fucking hate Charlotte Flair, but I mean, it is what it is. I always thought she was going to win this match. After the match, she rips apart Lily, and then Alexa Bliss seemed to have a meltdown, ripping her hair out. Looks like she was like salivating and shit like this. I don't know what happened. Yeah, so Alexa Bliss not too happy that her doll is being ripped up, and who knows what's going to happen from here. They did reference Alexa Bliss's like old characters, so on Raw during the Playhouse, so I don't know if they're going to go back to the Goddess character or whether maybe Lily getting ripped up, torn to shreds by Charlotte's going to drive Alexa Bliss deeper into this, this current character. So it could go either way, man. The match was alright, though. The match was decent. Then we moved on to the United States Championship match. Damien Priest versus Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus again. Decent triple threat match. It's times it looked like anybody could win it, but we all knew that Damien Priest was going to retain here. In the end, Sheamus hits a brogue kick on Jeff Hardy, but before he can pin him, Hardy rolls to the outside. Damien Priest rolls up. Sheamus gets the win, retains the belt. After the match, Priest and Hardy are celebrating. Sheamus is looking, well, yeah, I mean, Hardy's kind of celebrating even though he lost. It's a bit weird. He's showing respect for Damien Priest. Sheamus is looking on, kind of disgusted that he's lost the match, and these two are, getting along, and that ends that. We had Paul Heyman backstage talking on the phone. Kayla, whatever she called, the backstage interviewer for SmackDown, approached him. Heyman teased her about her being jealous that he's talking to, other interviewers and other women. Yeah, sorry guys, it's 4 a.m. here, so wee bit fucking tired. But yeah, so I guess it's a decent segment. Then he says, "Oh, you think it's Brock? Do you want the scoop? Do you want the news?" Then the Usos came and Heyman left with the Usos. Then we had Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch debuting this like new kind of white gear. Looked a wee bit like her husband Seth Rollins gear. This match was actually alright. I've no complaints again. It was another good match. My problem is every Bianca Belair match is always like they have to use her hair. Now I get it, she's got unique hair. The hair is there to be used as like a weapon or to be used as leverage or whatever. The hair can be used, right? I totally get that. But when you use it every single match, it's like it sucks, I mean, her hair, and it's not just once a match; it's like multiple times as well. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's cheap. If you used it once in a while, it would have a bigger impact. It would have a bigger feel. But it's like every single match, it's use the hair here, use the hair there, tug of war over the hair. I mean, fuck it. Get scissors and I'll cut her hair off, right? The best thing about this match was, though, they're swapping moves, counter moves. Bianca Belair looks like she's about to hit Becky Lynch with a finisher, and out of nowhere, Sasha Banks returns, also debuting in a new attire. Her fucking ass was shown, and this was great. This was the best part of the show, in my opinion. This new attire suits Sasha Banks in smoking hot, ass on display, and then she kicked ass. So she came out showing her ass, then she kicked ass, and then she obviously made her statement that she wants to be the new women's champion. And yeah, looking forward to seeing. I mean, I'll be honest, when I first seen Sasha Banks, wasn't a big fan of her, but she's grown on me over the years. Plus, I think she's got a lot hotter over the years as well. So, yeah, I don't know why, especially her body. I think she's got a hell of a lot hotter. And yeah, she was good in this segment here. So that's what it is. The end of this match. It was decent. And then main event time: Roman Reigns versus the Demon Finn Balor. Extreme Rules match. It's funny that this is Extreme Rules. Only one match was Extreme Rules, like, just do away with the pay-per-view concept, for God's sake. I've never liked the pay-per-view concept to begin with, but normally in Extreme Rules pay-per-view, there's at least more than one match that's Extreme Rules, or they would have, like, I'm pretty sure in the Extreme Rules pay-per-views in the past, they've had, like, a steel cage match, maybe a ladder match, so, that kind of stuff, but tonight it was just one Extreme Rules match and everything else was a normal match, whether it be like singles, tag team, whatever. It was all just normal stipulation. So, madness. Roman Reigns starts brawling with Balor into the crowd and he puts a mask on. I just thought, how fucking lame. This is supposed to be an Extreme Rules match. He's supposed to be taking on a demon, but he's got the time and the thought to put a mask on as he's going into the crowd. I mean, come on. Extreme Rules match, fighting a demon, but his concerns putting a mask on as he goes into the crowd. Like, what's that all about? Seriously, I thought it was lame. I mean, people are marking it, thinking this is great. To me, I thought it was dumb. I thought it was stupid. Then Reigns has got the upper hand. Balor fights back. The Usos come out. Balor starts beating up the Usos. hits a powerbomb on one through a table, could barely lift him. Roman Reigns comes out, hits a spear through the barricade. All of them are down. The next minute, Finn Balor's like laying flat on his stomach. Then the lights kind of flicker, the red mist comes, the lighting goes red. Finn Balor's music kind of plays, and then the beat, like the boom, boom, like the beat of his music starts, and every time the beat would go, Finn Balor would like flop like a fish. And I get they were trying to do, the music's bringing him back to life, whatever, but this looked fucking retarded. This didn't look good. And Finn Balor's like, flopping out there it's like a fish, legit like a fish out of water. He gets up, he battles Usos, he gets Roman Reigns in the ring, he battles him, he goes to the top rope, he goes to hit the coup de grace. The top rope, the rings break. And then he sells it as if he's broke his leg. And it did kind of look like his leg was hurt, even though I'm assuming he was fine, but I guess he did a decent job of selling that. Then he gets up, Roman Reigns hits him with a spear, retains the belts, and that was it. So there you go. First time ever, the Demon Balor, and from as long as I can remember, it's the first time the Demon has ever been pinned, and his first time he's lost a match. So there you go, guys. Interesting. I find it weird that like the Demon has went so long without losing a match, yet when Bray debuted at the Fiend character, he like pretty much lost straight away. So overall, it really did feel like this felt like the definition of a B pay-per-view. So many big name players just weren't even on the show. Like I say, it's Big E didn't even get announced to the pre-show. Lashley didn't get announced to the pre-show. There was no RKO, no Riddle. A lot of big guns missing, but the pay-per-view was alright, man. The matches were decent. You know what? We'll give it a 4 out of 10, guys. Thought the main event was a bit goofy, but Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch was good. Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss was good. The Usos, all the matches were decent. Yeah, there was no bad match on this show. You know what? We'll give it a 4. Right? The pay-per-view didn't excite me in the slightest, but I think the matches were good. The matches kind of did deliver. So there you go, guys. A 4. But again, no Edge, no Seth Rollins, no Brock Lesnar. It just felt like there was a hell of a lot missing on this show. But anyway, guys, that's it. Till next time, 4 out of 10. Let me know what you thought down below. Peace.